At first, they wanted me to have a big mullet, and I was like, oh, shoot.
Hey, it's Kristen, and today I am sharing an interview from Sundance Film Festival that I did with Tinoco of Romeo and Juliet. Congratulations. This is a really exciting time for you. You just made your feature film debut with Romeo and Juliet at Sundance. You also found out that On My Block is picked up for a 4th season. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I am ready to go back to work. This quarantine stuff, it's definitely taking a toll. And I just want to get back out, filming, start shooting, and just do what I love to do. You know what I mean?
We got to talk about Romeo and Juliet. This is one of Shakespeare's most well-known plays, and you're playing Tibble. So what was it like embodying this character?
I've always been a fan of Romeo and Juliet. I've been a fan of the story since Baz Luhrmann first created it. And, iconically it was played by John Maldonado, and I believe Ed Westwick played him afterwards in another remake of it. So there was definitely a little bit of pressure, but I didn't want to steal anything from the past creations of Tibble. So, I went into it without seeing the previous films. I've seen them obviously before, but not in a while, so I didn't pay much attention to them. And I just wanted to give it a fresh take, a fresh, realistic take of my 2020 interpretation of it,
What I really love about this project is that it is focused on actors of color in this space. And I was curious if your Latino background influenced your performance at all.
Oh, definitely. If you pay close attention, you can definitely hear some ad-libs that were thrown in there in Spanish. I asked Carrie if that was okay, and he was like, yeah, man. Hell yeah. And I was like, oh, sweet. I'll give it, I'll give it that Spanish flavor. But, I'm very thankful Carrie gave us that freedom to do so,
It definitely resonated. As a Latino, I always love seeing projects where they, you're able to think outside the box. And it's like, just because the role of Tybalt or even, any of these characters weren't necessarily written that way originally, it doesn't mean that, you can't come in and give us a new take and, give people different opportunities.
Absolutely. It also gave me a creative chance to grow my mustache for the role. So that was really fun.
That's awesome. I mean, you have rocked a lot of different hairstyles, so this was definitely a fun one, with the mustache, the short hair.
Trust me, you guys are lucky you guys got to see me with a clean cut on that movie, because at first they wanted me to have a big mullet, and I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, maybe let's go with like a clean cut, like an X on the back of the head.
Yeah. Okay. So you had a little bit of insight and a little say in your character's look.
Yeah, which was really cool. Working with this whole team. From production, producers to the director to costumes. Everybody was such a joy to be around. And you hear a lot of stories of nightmares on set, and on this set, it was definitely just a pleasure being with everybody every day.
This project gives Romeo and Juliet a modern social media update while still staying true to that like Shakespearean, verbiage. So what was it like balancing those aspects in terms of both the script and also just how this film was shot?
This story has been around since the beginning of time. I think it got created like 430 years ago. So it's definitely interesting to remake this story nowadays. And again, this goes back to the director. You really have to think and ask the question, like, how could we make this make sense among the generation of today? The generation who is always on their cell phones and uses emojis to communicate with their crush. And it's a no-brainer. You got to go screen life technology via Instagram messages, via, Instagram DMs and Facebook and even TikTok. You can use TikTok in there. For me, the language, it wasn't too hard. We had a Shakespearean coach on set to really make sure that we knew what we were saying and our intention behind it. And if you go to any acting class, it's always the same spiel. It's like, it's not the words, it's the behavior. It's the your motives and your intent with the words. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that can go back to many things. That can go back to life. That can go back to just the way you carry yourself. So it's like a universal message, It's not just Shakespearean. It's humanity.
Looking back at this, I feel like this is going to be a time capsule kind of the time we're in now, of this social media age. And I'm really curious to see what this movie's going to look like, looking back on it in like 10, 20 years, like how will social media have changed? I think it's going to be so interesting.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a landmark for sure. And I think this film speaks loudest to the youth. You know, the youth should definitely watch this film, interpret it in their own ways, and see how social media affects, you know, society, and maybe realize that, hey, maybe we should be a little more careful with the social media stuff. Maybe we shouldn't be bullying that girl for no reason, because these aren't just empty words. These words are really taking a toll on her mental health. And I think that's something that everybody should learn how to do, how to use technology properly.
I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about On My Block. It's pretty exciting. Season 4, you know, we ended on a huge cliffhanger in season 3, including that time jump. And I think what's really cool is that, you know, your character has evolved so much from like someone who did not want to be a part of like this gang life to someone who kind of just gets sucked into it. So what was it like finding out where Cesar was going to like be at that point?
Heartbreaking, very heartbreaking to see the ending. We don't get the last script ever until the last day of shooting, or the last couple of days of shooting. So in the storyline, up until episode 9, like everything was working out pretty good. Even up until episode 10, everything was working out really good. But then you get that fast forward, that 2-year jump, and I was like, what is going on? I told the producer, I was like, are you guys pranking me? Like, there's no way I'm shaving my head again, right? I was like, come on. But yeah, there was that. I'm excited to see where the story goes this year. I haven't gotten the scripts yet, so I'm excited to check it out. And I know as much as the 4th season as you do, so fingers are crossed I get a happy ending, but we'll see.
Is there anything, you know, now that you guys are in your final season that you kind of want to take from set?
Ooh, take from set? Yeah, for sure. All the jewelry, all the necklaces, and the shoes, all the Nike shoes and Vans.
If you guys like this one, you can check out more of my Sundance Film Festival coverage right here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.